There is a quiet sentence many people repeat to themselves, usually late at night or in moments of comparison. And it sounds like this: I am not enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not confident enough, not spiritual enough. And the most dangerous part is not the thought itself, but how normal it has started to feel. You scroll, you compare, you listen to others speak with certainty, and something inside you shrinks. You wonder how you ended up feeling small in a world that keeps demanding more. This feeling is not new. It did not begin with social media, success, culture, or modern pressure. It existed thousands of years ago, long before likes and resumes and public image. And one of the most powerful stories in the Bible begins with a man hiding, convinced that he is the least important person in the room. Gideon was not standing on a stage. He was not leading an army. He was hiding in a wine press, threshing wheat in secret, afraid of being seen. His nation was oppressed, his family was poor, his confidence was non-existent, and when God's messenger appeared to him, the words spoken did not match Gideon's self-image at all. The angel looked at a frightened man in hiding and said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." That moment should make us uncomfortable, because Gideon did not feel mighty. He did not see strength when he looked at himself. He saw lack. He saw limitation. He saw reasons why God must have made a mistake. And Gideon said exactly what many people think but rarely admit out loud. He argued. He explained why he was unqualified. My clan is the weakest. I am the least in my family. In other words, you have the wrong person. Here is the first truth we need to face when we feel inadequate. God's calling rarely aligns with our self-assessment. We look at our past, our flaws, our insecurities. God looks at potential, obedience, and what can grow if we trust Him. Low self-worth does not always come from arrogance or pride. Sometimes it comes from honesty without perspective. You know your weaknesses very well. You replay your failures. You remember the moments you fell short. But what you cannot see clearly is what you have not yet become. Gideon asked for signs. He hesitated. He doubted. And God did not shame him for that. God did not say, "Come back when you believe in yourself." He said, "I will be with you." That was the answer to Gideon's insecurity. Not self-esteem, not motivation, presence. This is where many people go wrong. When you feel inadequate, the world tells you to look inward and build confidence from within. But Scripture points in a different direction. It tells you to look upward because your worth was never meant to be self-generated. It was meant to be received. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to forget who you are. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you borrow standards that were never designed for you. You compare their highlight reel to your behind the scenes, their visible success to your invisible struggle. And slowly, you start believing that your value depends on how you rank. Gideon compared himself too. He knew exactly where his family stood in the social hierarchy. He knew his place. But God was not interested in Gideon's ranking. He was interested in Gideon's response. There is a subtle but critical shift that happens when you stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start asking, "Is God enough through me?" One question keeps you trapped in self-evaluation. The other opens the door to transformation. God deliberately chose someone who felt small so that the victory could not be mistaken for human strength. Later in the story, when Gideon finally gathers an army, God reduces it. Thousands of soldiers are sent home until only a small group remains. Why? So that no one could say, "We did this ourselves." Your feeling of inadequacy might not be a flaw. It might be a setup, a way for God to remove false confidence so that true dependence can grow. Think about your life right now. The areas where you feel most insecure are often the areas where you are being invited to trust the most. The calling that scares you, the responsibility that feels too heavy, the opportunity you feel unqualified for. These moments reveal a choice. You can let inadequacy define you, or you can let it drive you toward faith. Feeling inadequate does not disqualify you. Refusing to move because of it does. Gideon never became fearless. He became obedient. And that obedience reshaped his identity. Step by step, action by action, Gideon learned that God's view of him was more reliable than his own. This matters because many people spend their lives waiting to feel worthy before they act. They delay starting, serving, speaking, creating, leading. They believe that once confidence arrives, movement will follow. But in the biblical pattern, movement often comes first. Confidence follows later. You do not need to see yourself as strong to be used by God. You need to be willing to show up, willing to try, willing to obey, even when your internal voice says you are not enough. There is another quiet danger in low self-worth. It doesn't just make you feel bad, it makes you passive. It convinces you to play small, to stay silent, to hide your gifts. And the cost of that is not only personal frustration, but missed impact. The world loses something when you decide you are insignificant. God never agreed with Gideon's self-label, and he does not agree with yours. When God calls someone, he does not consult their insecurity for permission. This does not mean ignoring your weaknesses. It means refusing to let them be the final word. God works through weakness not because weakness is good, but because it leaves room for grace. The question is not whether you feel enough. The question is who you believe defines enough. As the story unfolds, Gideon leads. He acts. He obeys. And the man who once hid becomes a deliverer for his people. Not because he discovered hidden greatness within himself, but because he trusted the one who saw it first. So when that voice tells you that you are too small, too late, too flawed, remember Gideon. Remember that God often speaks a future identity over people who cannot yet imagine it. And remember that your inadequacy does not repel God. It attracts his strength. You are not invisible. You are not overlooked. You are not disqualified by your doubts. God sees what you cannot see yet. If this message resonated with you, subscribe for more faith-based motivation and clarity for your journey.